Welcome back to Inside Cajun Nation. Thanks so much for staying up with us. Coach Kristi Gray, UL volleyball head coach, joining us, and we're chatting about the Cajuns who exhibition season is underway. You have Tulane coming up in exhibition play real soon.
Yeah, so we actually play Friday at home. It's an inter-squad against ourselves, but it is open to the public. Again, it's free. And then we have Tulane here next Thursday. Same thing.
Yeah,
6 o'clock and it's free.
Come watch some volleyball. It's really exciting. Speaking of having a talented team, you obviously had that a year ago. You did something that hadn't been done before in the program history, getting to the postseason, competing in a postseason tournament. And can you talk about what it's like to try and find talent now in this new world of NIL, and how does that affect you guys?
Right. We haven't really experienced too much of NIL in our world. I say volleyball as a whole because it's not like football. It's not like basketball where people are going out and getting big deals and they're losing student athletes over it. I'm sure at some point it will hit our sport, but right now we haven't had too much of that going on.
Yeah, and so is it finding talent? I mean, obviously you have to have an eye for it as a coach.
Right.
That's what you're looking for, is the best players to come to your program. Can you talk about what you look for in a young player?
Definitely.
Do you have to try and develop them, or is volleyball different than other sports where, if you're like a Texas or an LSU, you're getting the cream of the crop that are ready to play as a freshman, whereas if you're in a Sun Belt conference or a group of five, you kind of got to develop talent. Is it similar like that, or how does that work?
I think it's a little bit of both. For us, we don't have one specific area that we do go recruit. We do have a lot of kids from Texas, but we also have Hawaii, Japan, Florida. We have girls from all over. So what we do as coaches, we go to tournaments all over. We go to Kansas City, we go to Hawaii, we go to Vegas, Florida. We are all over, and what they are, they're big qualifiers, and teams from all over the country go to them. And we have a list of prospects that we have in mind going, but one of the things that we talk about in our program is keeping it real. And so REAL stands for respect, energy, accountability, and love. One of the first things that we look for with student athletes is respect for their teammates, their coaches, their parents, on and off the court. And if you don't fit that mold immediately, then we're on to the next one, because we got a list of, I don't know, a countless number of kids in the same position that if you don't fit that from the start, then we're going to the next one. But we look for all-around athletic kids that we know that if you're athletic, we can come in and train you. And so I would say for the majority of it, that's what we look for. But we also have freshmen that come in and compete for us immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you do a lion's share of kind of picking out who you like, but you also have a staff underneath you that is helping you and guiding you and kind of assisting you in putting together the best product. Talk about some of the staff that you have and what makes you guys so successful as you kind of move forward in this season.
Right. So top assistant, which she has now been promoted to associate head coach, Jasmine Johnson. She's been with me since I was hired year one. So we're going into year three together, and she is the recruiting coordinator / offensive coordinator. And the one thing that we connected on was mentoring and relationships. That's what we put first and foremost in our program. And I think for her, she helps a lot in that space. We talk about diversity and inclusion a lot too, and being a young black female, she connects a lot with our players. And so that's something that is very big in our program. Next assistant, Will Boyd, he just came in to our program in March from Texas State. So it's nice to bring in a rival on staff, but I've known Will for a while. He's going to work with our setters, and he's the offensive coordinator. Jazz is the defensive. And then Kelsey Bennett. The NCAA just passed that we can hire a third assistant. And if anybody knows that name, she was star outside for UL volleyball for the last 5 years. And so we're very excited to have her. She is going to be key for us as a staff with just the team here right now, not necessarily in the recruiting space, but relating to the student athletes that we have.
It's really cool when you're able to bring back somebody who kind of has a name because even if you don't follow, once you hear, oh, they hired somebody who used to be on the team, that's cool. People like that kind of, I guess, taking care of your own type of
And
mentality.
that's how I looked at it. It was, we knew that the space was coming available, the position was, and so I had joked with her, I think it was sometime still in the fall, that if this does happen, if it does go through, do you want to come back? She was done with volleyball. She was tired of it. She was ready to move on with life. And then she came in the spring and she was like, do you remember that conversation we had? And I was like, yes. She was like, were you serious? And I'm like, I was. So full circle. I mean, she's back and the girls love it and she's great for them.
Yeah. So when you talk about your team and you set up your schedule and now you have to go execute on the road and at home and whatever. But it's an interesting, I was checking the schedule. You start the year with a bunch of tournaments, different tournaments across the country. Can you talk about your schedule and what do you like about this and how does it challenge you? How do you set it up to make it to where you're going to Stark Vegas? So
right.
I apologize for you having to go to Starkville in Mississippi. Hotty toddy,
sorry,
everybody.
Jazz. So
I'm an Ole Miss guy. Sorry.
Jazz actually, she graduated from Mississippi State, so it's a nice homecoming for her. So, I mean, I've always wanted a challenging, tough schedule. I want to get challenged early to prepare us for conference, and I think our schedule is set up that way. We go to Mississippi State, then we go to Texas Tech, we go to South Florida or North Florida, and then we host. But through there, we go to Rice, we go to LSU for midweeks, and so we play some pretty big teams early on to where we will get challenged. But I believe that it will prepare us for conference, and then hopefully then postseason.
Yeah, and talk about the Sawyer Camilla Classic. That's been a kind of an important thing for UL volleyball.
It has. So I'm not sure what year it was, but a student athlete, she had passed away, and so the tournament is in remembrance of her. And so each year we host it, typically second weekend, but we were having some scheduling issues. But we host September 14th, 15th, and 16th this year, and it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Cool. Yeah, it's always something that we kind of keep an eye on because we know it's going to be at home. We have an opportunity to cover you guys with regards to that, and it's remembering a former Cajun there. So a lot of tournaments, a lot of excitement. So I got a question about the libero.
Yes.
Why do they wear different color jersey? What is the significance of that? And help me out on volleyball 101.
Okay, so the libero or libero, depending on how you want to announce it, it goes both ways.
Okay.
But they are defense only. They can only stay behind the 10-foot line. They wear a different jersey. They don't count as a substitute, but they can go in and out for players just basically at free will, almost. But we have ours exchanged with our middles and play their defense.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's always interesting because I've been asked that numerous times, and I told you I coached my daughter in 5th grade. She's now in 8th grade now. She's big 8th grader now. But I did not know in that level. I don't think they really have that. So, but yes, it's good to know. So. Well, cool. Thank you so much for being here, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate your time and look forward to the season. Nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Cajun Nation. We'll see you next time right here on Inside Cajun Nation.